What's up, Bill? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And before we even talk soccer, I just want to introduce Alex Avia, stand-up comic, Man City fan, but he's also, were you born in Mexico?
I was.
But you live in America. And he just got engaged. So where he was born has nothing to do with anything, but he just got engaged. So congratulations. And I liked his post on Instagram, but I also said, hey, man, that's no excuse not to show up for the pod. It's like if there's any time or day you can get away to come on the pod, it's after you've engaged your girl, because you did everything that you could do that's impressive for the day. Like she
like
should be like, you know what? Go ahead. Go, go to the pod. Like, don't stick around and ruin this day.
She did say that. She did say, he's like, hey, I got a comment from Ian saying that about there's a podcast today and you don't have an excuse. So I was like, oh, all right, you're right. I don't have an excuse. And she liked the blue check mark that Ian Edwards has and stuff, and the algo just exploded. I guess went from like 10 likes to like I don't even know right now. So it's blowing up because Ian left a comment. So that's the power what Ian Edwards can do for someone's career, you know.
Yeah, I wish I could do that for my post. I mean, but we'll figure that out. And we want to start with England first. Here goes Lee. Lee's joining the pod. Lee Hudson, stand-up comic. I think he was at the actual England versus 140th place Latvia game. were you at that game, the Latvia game, England versus Latvia?
Yeah, literally just got back through the door from it.
Boots on the ground, freshly tired, just rushed in, not even daylight saving times there yet. So it's probably dark. And Lee just got in, stand-up comic, Southampton fan, and at least he roots for one team that wins. Would you say Latvia, you're a Southampton fan, what level is Latvia on? Are they better than Southampton, or would Southampton whoop Latvia's ass?
I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think we'd beat them. Looking at like where their players play, yeah, I think we would beat them.
You beat them, all right.
Most of their players play like in the Latvian league. They had like one guy who plays for St Johnstone in the Scottish Premier League, who are like one of the smallest teams in the Scottish Premier League. So, yeah, they're not blessed with a lot of stars. Weirdly, I own a Latvia shirt though, because one of our star strikers in the early 2000s, Marian Pahars, was Latvian, and I bought it. Latvia made it to Euro 2004, and I bought the shirt before Euro 2004 to support him when England weren't playing.
Oh, dope. That's hilarious.
An important question for Lee is: are you making your video about you going to the game? Because that's what those posts go viral, bro.
I probably will. I took videos while I was there, so I'm gonna chop one up for that. And I went to the Arsenal women versus Liverpool game on Saturday as well. So I'm gonna try and do one for that. I've got to do some editing once we're done with this.
now you've added like editor to all the other stuff that you got to do as a comic, plus playing basketball, food.
Oh yeah.
Food critic. You stand up. I mean, editing now, your day job, just everything. There's so many things. What we should, like, Alex has to go. Alex also just got engaged today. I don't know if you see it on social media. Yeah.
Congrats.
He edited the photos and the slide to make it look like she said yes. So I'm assuming.
Oh man, I have like 20 minutes. I'm gonna do Andrew Schultz and do like an hour special about it, because I did so much stuff I went wrong that it's hilarious. But at the end she say yes, you know.
Right. I mean, she didn't expect it all to go right. She knows you. It is what it is.
She's seen me perform, so
yeah, exactly.
What season, you know? Pep gets divorced, Alex gets engaged. It's the circle of
circle
of life.
right.
Yeah, Pep gets divorced, Rodri gets engaged.
I kind of want City to get charges because otherwise I'll get the charges. You know, it's like if City goes, it's like City's innocent, but Alex has some charges like he doesn't even know about from the IRS or something like that. You know.
I mean, are you saying if something bad happens to your football team, something good will happen to you in real life?
Well, that's what that's what we're looking at right now. The Pep gets a divorce, they get engaged. So,
all right, well,
maybe I want City to get charged. You know, but...
All right, you know what? Let it happen then. City charges now. Stat. So I'm trying to figure out what we talk about first because Alex got to run. We definitely want to talk about England, and Lee just came from there, from the game. Let's see if we can knock that out, and then we talk about like what happened with America in this tournament. Or, and I don't even understand this. That maybe Alex can explain it more. But let's talk about England, like just off the top. You just tell us about your experience going to see England game. Is it your first England game, and considered that it's Latvia? Like, what was the deal? What was the vibes?
No, I've been to a bunch of England games before. I'm trying to think how many I've been to. It's a few. Like I saw him play USA at Wembley years ago. I think Gerrard scored that game. Like that's how long ago it was.
Oh shit!
When Wembley was still like fairly fresh. I've seen England in a Euros. I went and watched them in Euro 2016 when I watched us play Russia. When all the Russian fans then set about trying to fight everyone afterwards. And me and my brother got like locked in.
Were they preparing for the invasion of Ukraine then?
I think so. Because all their guys they didn't even go to the game. Like, a load of them just turned up in Marseille because the tournament was in France and the game was in Marseille, and they all turned up with like MMA gear on and stuff and just hunting down England fans in the streets after the game because it was like a night. And me and my brother, we weren't wearing any like England clothing because we didn't want to be associated or anything. And we ended up getting locked in a McDonald's while there was like a sort of like 50-man brawl going on outside it.
Damn, I think I remember that brawl. You guys were there. You were in the vicinity of that.
Oh yeah, we were right next to it. It was so that was pretty wild. And I've been to like a handful. I've seen England Germany at Wembley in a friendly before. England Spain at Wembley. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of stuff over the years. So yeah, the tickets were like a reduced price tonight, because everyone that wanted to see England this weekend kind of went on Friday for Tuchel's first game against Albania, the 2-0 win. And like it's an easier sell at the weekend as well. Whereas Monday night, it's the second of 2 home games and it wasn't selling great. So the FA just brought the tickets right down. And at that point, I was like, that is within my price range. I'm going to go watch.
Hilarious. Now that's good. Like, you get to see all the stars from all the teams in the Premier League at that discount rate. That's you can't beat that. That's you gotta go for that deal. You gotta take that.
I think the US Federation should learn from that, because I saw the state of SoFi for the the game against Canada. That wasn't looking good. So yeah, but Wembley was pretty full tonight. It's at 79,000 people.
Wow.
Which isn't far off of the max. There was a couple of little like pockets of empty seats, but yeah, it's a pretty dominant England performance. Like, I mean, the 2 games we've had have both been just like a attack versus defense exercise in both, just how to break down and beat a low block. And I see some people talking about how like, oh, it's boring watching England just pass sideways. It's like, well, you can't.
It's not our fault.
Yeah, you can't just constantly throw balls into a team that are playing low block. You have to be patient. You have to sort of move around the sides and then look for the holes where you can play in, and have to be patient. And I think both games, England did like a professional job. It wasn't the most exciting at times, but tonight was pretty good. And I like that Tuchel mixed the team up tonight. Like he gave Bowen a start, he gave Rodgers a start, and then he made good subs as well. Like when Eze came on, he brought a bit of energy and a bit of creativity. But yeah, I got to see that free kick from Reece James. We were sat perfectly behind that down the other end, and it was just, we could see that go right into the corner. Harry Kane.
Can we talk about that for a second? That's another thing on goalkeeper positioning. It's almost like the Bruno Fernandes goal, except the wall wasn't back further than it should have been. But again, too much. Like, why are you in the other goal? Why aren't you in your goal and in the middle of your goal where you could save it either way? And even Reece James, in the post-match interview, he was like, he didn't think it was that much of a good free kick. He thought the keeper was going to save it. But then when he looked at it again, he had to watch it again and say, oh, this guy wasn't going to save it. Because then I guess he saw like how far over the goalkeeper was. Like, it's just too trusting of a wall. And what do you think as a ex-keeper?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I said it last time we discussed it. I like to see the shot, and I like to be as central in the goal as I can, because then I feel I can affect the ball either way. Whereas I feel like when the goalkeeper goes all the way to one side, he's kind of saying, well, if you hit the other side, you've got to go. Like, if you can beat the wall, you got to go. And some walls are easy to beat, some aren't. But I mean, that one was fairly easy. And, you know, it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, as long as the player taking it gets a good connection and gets it on target, then it's going in. So, but Reece James couldn't have really hit that any better. It like sort of almost glanced off the inside of the post on the way in. So it was a really good free kick, because when England got the free kick there, I was there with my friend and we were sort of looking at each other like, who's going to take this? You know, because like Kane likes to sniff around sometimes, but he went away, and Rashford likes a free kick. Like, he took a great one on his debut for Villa when he hit the post, and then the goal went in from the rebound. So he was sniffing around, and then he went away, and then it was I think it was Rice was the player left over. Oh no, it wasn't Rice. Sorry, it was Bowen and James.
They were all whispering in his ear. I don't know which one of them's advice he took, but apparently he listened to the right person, whether it was him shutting them all out and listening to his own advice. But he put that ball, like you said, in a place where only a chip of paint could have saved it off that post, and it went in. I want to talk more about the game, but let's ask Alex a little bit about like where we're at now. Like, we just had the CONCACAF conference. What was this, Alex?
Just like they're kind of like they're like the well, you know, because of Europe right now, they're doing like they actually kind of have some serious games going on, right? With Europe, what do you call it, like Nation
France,
League Cup?
Croatia,
Yeah, so the
Spain, Netherlands.
CONCACAF in the past, they used to try to get some European teams to come to the US. There's no teams that can come. CONMEBOL, they're all doing World Cup eliminations. So they're just doing like because if it was a friendly between like Mexico again or US against Costa Rica and stuff, there wouldn't be too much hype. So I guess there's like a trophy at the end, you know. So it's like
so which teams are the teams that were in this were Panama versus America and Mexico versus Canada at first, and then there's a third place game, and then there's a first place game between the winners of the first two matches. Now, America was so confident that they were going to get to at least the finals. They flew in their Champions League broadcasting team of Thierry Henry, Kate Abdo, to do this 4 games with like their normal broadcasters who are ex-US players. And we didn't even make it past Panama, fam. And not only did the US not even make it past Panama, the guy that scored the winning Panama goal celebrated with the guy we flew in, Thierry Henry, with his winning goal after knocking the US out. So it's kind of embarrassing, like on top of embarrassing. But I don't even think it's that embarrassing. I feel like, yes, the US is getting better at soccer, but so are other countries in CONMEBOL. Like, there's players playing in the MLS there. I mean, CONCACAF, and in different parts of Europe also. And everybody loves and were raised on soccer and are just trying to get better at it. So as we get better, other teams will too. But go ahead, Alex. Tell me a little bit more about this tournament.
I think it's an embarrassment every time Mexico or the US don't reach the expectations that they need to, because the reality is just that is kind of set up for them to be to get there, right? Like, and it happened before when Mexico got eliminated before, and that's the reason why there's so much turnover in coaches, right? Like Mexico feel like it's like they're now like our third coach over the past in like one World Cup. Since one World Cup, there's been like 2 new coaches in Mexico, and it's just that like the pressure of you're not really playing for any team, but there's so much pressure because you're playing for anything that you play for, right? Like there's this little trophy going on, but if you don't win it, it's the alarm's gone because the World Cup starts in 15 months, and if you cannot put together some nice performances, all of a sudden, yeah, no, I do feel like it's not a, I don't know if embarrassment is the right word, but obviously it's not a. The expectations were way much higher for the U.S. They were
Mm.
Pochettino, and uh, I mean it was so bad, right? Like as Lee said, the stadium was empty against Canada. It's probably not their fault of the U.S., but it's just the way they set up the game to do like a double header. You buy one ticket and you get to watch both games. No one's going to the first game. Like that game is kind of like, who, which fan and the right man is gonna go pay for the third place when the prices are going up because Mexico is trying to, now all of a sudden everybody wants to go watch Mexico win a trophy against a team or whatever. No one's gonna be trying to pay $200 to go watch the U.S. play a third place.
I mean, I would have went, but to be honest, I didn't even know.
But you probably would
I
have
was
stayed
in
for both
Vegas.
games.
I was in
Like if you
Vegas to
go,
shows.
like if you go, you probably go and you stay for both games, right? Like
Yeah.
you would go watch the U.S. and then watch the Mexico game. But
Mm-hmm.
so if you're like a Mexican fan, like you bought tickets to watch the Mexican, you're not really having incentive to show up early to watch the.
The American game.
Well, that's the reason why it was so empty. Like people are like saying that it's just the way they set up the games to do like a double header. And again, when they're thinking about everything, they're thinking Mexico will play the US in the final. It's gonna be a sellout. It's gonna be amazing. Ratings to the roof. When it doesn't happen, you get like because it's happened the other way around. When the US goes to the final and Mexico's out, and all of a sudden it's similar situation.
Yeah. And I keep thinking about the US, how they played Panama. And I think they lost to Panama in was it the Gold Cup or what was that? The Copa America?
Copa America.
Copa America too. And
Yeah.
the US, I looked at our ranking. I say R when it comes to the US and to England. And I will say the same also for Jamaica. And let me see if I can find the American ranking. I think we're ranked like
I think we're in the top 20.
16th. Do
Yeah.
you feel like this is
Or
a legit?
no. Or
What
not
do you
even,
think,
I don't think even Mexico should be in the top 20, but somehow we get added there because we're hosting a World Cup. So otherwise, I don't know. How do, yeah, exactly. How do you feel, Lee?
I mean, it's hard because we've not really had. It's been a while since we've been able to see like some of those teams compete against like other big nations outside of the area, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Where are they in the rankings? You got them up?
America's like 16th. Let me see. Let me find it.
I mean, that is disgracefully. That is way too high for the US.
But it's always high.
Mm.
It's always high. Like it's almost like a paid position. Like I never feel like it's a legit.
Yeah,
thing.
USA 16, Mexico 19. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Canada 31st.
And Canada beat our ass in the third place game. So not only did we lose to Panama, but Canada took it with an American coach and we have this big war going on in Canada. It's a non-physical war. It's a tariff war. So Canadians are pissed at us. So you could see a little bit of that energy in the game. There was like a little tussle towards the end. They said, oh, this is the tariff war kicking off here on the pitch. Like Canadians are pissed at Americans right now. And
to add that, like also Canada beat the US playing hockey. So like Canada beat the US playing hockey. Now you went and beat them in soccer. So it's like might as well like you want to play American football and see what happens.
I feel like Canada has been strong in football lately, and they got strong in football at a time when America felt like we were at our strongest as our list of players. But do you think maybe America should start playing forest type football? Like we hired Pochettino to be an attacking team, but are we attacking enough when you consider some of the better teams in the world? Like we're trying to play football at a at a at an attacking level, like teams like Brazil, England, France, Spain. You know what I mean? Like we're America, so we should play like this with this style. But would we get more results if we greased it out? You know what I'm saying? Like when Greece won the Euros, like what if we played all defense and counterattacked? You know what I mean? And the crowd would frown upon it, but like maybe the results would like
all
justify
I'm saying
it.
Is there is enough time to fire Pochettino and bring in Sean Dyche before the World Cup.
Hilarious.
Do it, America. Do it.
Don't know if you saw the interview. Did you see the interview from Pochettino? I think it was yesterday after the game. Did you hear that? Well, it was just like he's getting like roasted a little bit from fans and stuff, but he came out funny because he said like the players explaining him how to do something, but they're going back to their habits. It's like the players are going back to their habit. Like he came out wrong though, because like I don't know how he said it. It was kind of funny. I don't know if he was saying habitat or habit, but he just said players go back. It's like I'm telling these guys to go put pressure, and they're doing it for a little bit, but then they go back to their habit of watching, of not putting pressure. And when I saw it, I was like, I don't know why he's getting roasted. Well, he's 100% right. He's kind of like trying to, like you said, right? He's trying to be attacking coaching, but like he's got other players who are like, no, we don't do that. We don't want to be. I need to be. I don't know. I play soccer like in Mexico. I play soccer in the U.S. and I think we're very positional. Like the way when I was coach here, to kind of like always looking at your guy. Don't take a space if you have to be marking. And I don't know if it's something or whatever, but I just felt like a lot of the players were just very like not really doing what he wanted. Maybe it's like a question of more working longer, he needs more time to develop. But I think just from the get go, I don't know if he'll be a good fit because what he's trying to do is a lot of pressure, and it's hard to do that when you see players only once every 3 months. You get to work with them for like in a week every 2 months.
I see what you're saying, but some countries end up doing it successfully. But
you look at like this, like examples of like Spain, like the Spains from the world, right? Like Spain, all the Spain players do that. So when you get a coach, the coach is kind of like, okay.
A lot of them are from a lot of them are from La Liga teams that are not at the top of the table that kind of have to pick their fights. And then some of them are from Barcelona. There's only one possible from Real Madrid. So it ain't like they got this super attacking team. They do have some really good attacking pieces. But even Italy, when they beat England in the Euros, they became this attacking team. Like it was like they played like they had Xavi, Iniesta and Messi. They played like they were Barcelona and they won the Euros. But I'm just thinking America needs to stop chasing the hot girl. Like whenever we hear there's a coach available with a brand name, we'll fire whatever American coach we got and get that person. It didn't work when Klinsmann was the coach. The coach they fired for Klinsmann had better results in tournaments. And also the coach we fired to get Pochettino has, I think, won this CONCACAF thing and the Gold Cup back to back. And when he won the Gold Cup, he didn't even have his top CONCACAF players. But, he's American, and it's like, let's get somebody with a name brand from Europe. Like, we fired two of our most successful coaches and traded them in for foreigners, brand name foreigners, and it hasn't worked. So good. All those journalists who are sometimes ex-football players who like want this shiny like piece of coaching penny. Look where we're at now. Out of a tournament in our own backyard and playing in front of no fans.
Yeah, I mean it is something that they have to like fix ASAP, right? Because I think when it comes to like I think like we Americans we don't support like a bad team, right? Or like you see that we see like, especially like LA, specific LA. Like you're not gonna go watch Lakers when Lakers are not doing well. or when the Rams, there's so much distraction, some other stuff. So if you are expecting to see to get LA fans in LA, give them like we have to have a reason for them to show up, So hopefully that changes it. I don't know if you want to jump into the Mexico game.
Yeah, jump into so Mexico versus Panama. That's what you're talking about, or Mexico versus Canada. You just want to go to the final.
Well, just Mexico, like Mexico was also like in the same predicament where Mexico just changed coach every time something kind of goes bad. They just like we're very short term. Like we're not really thinking like.
Yeah, you guys have
like
a guillotine ready for each coach. It's like the French Revolution over there. Like
we're
who's
like
next?
We're like the Man United of international soccer. It's like
not really, because United has won stuff. So I don't even understand why you make that comparison. But
we just won a trophy. Right, we just won a trophy. So
that's like when Spurs won the Intertoto Cup.
Exactly. No, I don't know if I think like we're a lot, like when I say a lot of fans. I think like Mexico's back. I'm not exactly sure. I think like the same with the US. I think like until you face like a like a team from the top 10, you see where you are, because like reality humbles you. I do feel like I like some of the. I mean, it was very simple for Mexico. They just play a 4-4-2, nothing fancy. It's just like not really forcing any errors, just like do the basics. And some of the players actually did the basics very well this time, when sometimes they don't do it. And yeah, and I think like it did help that we didn't have to go play the US, because I think like that would have been very interesting to see what would have happened against the US.
Yeah, Panama, when they went a goal down, they really pressured you guys. I don't like that penalty, that Panama one. What do you think about that penalty?
The penalty the Panama one, like the last penalty in the last play?
In the last game. Didn't Panama get a penalty versus Mexico to make it 1-1?
Mexico got a PK at the end.
But then how did Panama score?
Wait, I'm getting confused right now. Mexico got a Panama. Don't recall.
I get it. Listen, I'm getting old too, so I feel you.
Yeah.
Raul Jimenez scored right at the end.
Yeah, he did
win it, the 2-1.
That was a penalty. No,
you're right.
That was there was two
Panama got a
penalties
penalty.
in the game.
Panama got one for their goal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I watched that replay. I'm like, the guy took the shot, and then the defender was trying to block the shot, I feel like it was more of a foul by the Panama offensive player than it was by the Mexican defender. But the play went on, ref didn't call it, and that Panama forward laid on the ground, like spitting, rolling around, throwing his arms up, and then it kind of forced VAR to, like, did something really happen? And then they came to a conclusion that something did happen. I was like, I would have called that foul on the offensive player, not the defensive player. But then they gave the penalty, and not Raul Jimenez, I forgot the name of the Panama player, put it away. Now, at the end of the game, justice was served. Why did that Panama defender feel like he had to hand the ball there? He's like, everybody knows there's cameras. There's no way you're going to get away with that. It's so much hard for that offensive player to have taken a shot from right behind him and got that ball past him and the goalkeeper. And it's crazy. Like, that Panama player, I don't even know if he can go back home, because he definitely blew that for Panama. And then that's the margins of a great mistake. And now Mexico feels like they have a coach of the future, when it's just the margins in football sometimes are bananas.
I think he missed the header. I think he went for hit the ball and he didn't, just completely missed it, and the ball just landed on his head. You think he actually tried to put his hand under?
Yeah, I think he couldn't make it with his head, so he's like, let me make it with my arm. And it's like, just let the ball go, bro.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, it goes. The ball goes. I don't even think the Mexican player gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Mexico pay them. Maybe Mexico like hey man, here's some money under the table, or something.
Right at the end of the game too.
Yeah, I think to recap, like, just I don't know if basically, like, now, like you said, right now he's I mean, he's coached Mexico. This is his third time coaching Mexico, so he knows stuff around. But I kind of don't like that. I would have preferred so many times kind of like build for like a long term. Have like a coach where because I think his project is just after the World Cup, he's gone, and then like you have to bring another guy, like you said, like probably the hottest girl who's gonna be there available. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we can get Klopp if we pay him a lot of money, and then he comes and he's like, nope.
Mexico is going to try to get like a European coach like that, just out of curiosity.
They try that. Just I think like Mexico. Yeah, I think like whatever generates kind of like uh I mean I can see after the World Cup, Mexico like the results don't come after the World Cup, and the fans, everyone in the fans are upset, mad that we hosted the World Cup and we got eliminated on the first round.
This is big. This is big for you guys. Like you guys, but what's the status of Mexico's team? Like I know America has a good, nice crop of players now, but what are you guys in a rebuilding era? Are you at the end of a cycle, and then Ramirez is a part of the end of the cycle, and you have a bunch of old players just hanging on for the next 18 whatever months, or do you have like new players and like a few old players, and those new players aren't experienced enough yet? Like where y'all at?
I think like this is definitely like one of we're like on kind of like rebuilding, but like the players that we're rebuilding with, they're not what you will want from like previous. A quick example: previous generations. I think Mexico at one point had like 16 players playing in Europe, and I don't even know if they were playing consistently or not, but just it was just kind of like for the Mexican.
That's a big deal. That's a
Mexican
big deal.
like federation. It was nice to have a starting 11 made up of every players playing in abroad. Now we don't really have that. And the players who are playing in Europe, they're playing like in Russia, and they're playing like in random teams that I've been like, just come back to Mexico, like just you already play Europe. You check the box. Just you can come. You can tell your grandkids that you already play in Europe, man. Like you don't have to be in Russia playing. So I think like there's some good players, but I don't know why not. Well, I know why. Like it's just there's been some players. I don't think a European team is gonna buy a Mexican player 3 times more expensive than Argentinian, Brazilian, Ecuadorian, Uruguayan. Mexican league sell their players very expensive, and they're not. You're not gonna buy. They're putting a tariff on Mexican players. Like before they're on themselves.
So that's why they're not in Europe right now, because they charge too much. They're charging more than like the traditional teams from the.
Between Mexican teams, you get like a good Mexican. Let's just say like an example. You get like the Arsenal or the Man City of the Mexican league buying a player for like 12 million, 11 million. And Europe is buying Argentinian players for 4 million, 3 million. So it's not it's never gonna work.
All right. I just want to say something about the American team. Yeah, it's very bad that we got knocked out this tournament early and then lost a third place game. But sometimes that's just football, and you don't want to peak early. The World Cup is coming up next year, and hopefully Pochettino can learn from the mistakes and see what we did wrong. We didn't lose or get blown out of these games by much. It was just certain degrees of things didn't go right. Like in the first game versus Panama, Poch put on this kid, forgot what his name, and he had like 2 shots. And it's just a little bit more calm, cool collectiveness and execution. The Panama game could have went to extra time, and US could have won it in extra time. The game against Canada, I think Canada beat us the last time we played them anyway. Like they're on one right now. They have like players like Jonathan David and Laren and a player from Bayern Munich who's won the Bundesliga and Champions League, Alphonso Davis. So there's not a bunch of slackers over there. And they have a coach that coached in Europe that we looked over because he was American and says, let's get this Argentinian guy who's coached for Spurs, who's lost with Spurs. So that's what you get. But I feel like we have time to like get it together, and maybe losing these 2 games will make everybody take this more serious and make the adjustments they need to make that they might not have made if we'd won this tournament. So I wouldn't explode. And it's just, and America, we just got to stop being arrogant. You know, you can't just waltz into a sport. I've been saying this for years. You can't just waltz into a sport that you haven't been taken serious and just be like, we should win this. I love the spirit and the enthusiasm from the fans, and that's what football is anyway. People overestimating and overhyping their team and then falling short and then rising back up. But if you've been watching football, like most of the stuff that happens with your US team wouldn't even be a surprise. I hope you can hang in for a little bit, but let's go back to England. So, Lee, you went to the game. What do you think of the performances? You were kind of in the middle of that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I say, it's never going to be the most entertaining game when you're faced with a team that just put their whole team behind the ball. But I thought England found solutions. And even in the first half where we only got the one goal from the free kick, they were trying stuff. Rashford was getting the ball out left and trying to cut inside or take people on the outside as well. And Bowen was doing the same on the other side. It just wasn't quite coming off. And Rodgers and Bellingham were getting their shots in, and Kane was as well. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. You just have to wear teams like that down. It's not, because even the smaller nations now, like they're well coached and they have players who can be organized at the very least. And that was what Latvia were. They were just, they were just tough to break down. And then, like I said, I thought Tuchel made the subs at the right times. Like I said, only brought Eze on, and that had a good effect because he obviously got himself a goal. And yeah, it was just a professional performance. And I thought, from what I watched of the Albania game on Friday, it was the same thing there. And yeah, it was nice that he mixed the team up a little bit, but there was some real positive signs there to build on, given that he's only had a few sessions with the team, and these are the first two games. I love that he's just thrown Myles Lewis Shelly in from the start. This is a teenager, and he didn't look overawed in those games. He got a goal against Albania, and tonight he was solid. He's playing left back, but he ended up finding himself in centre midfield because he was trying to move into different positions and create overloads to try and make space out wide for Rashford and to help the players in the middle. So yeah, really good performance from him. He's not looked overawed, which is crazy, but I mean, he hasn't looked overawed when he's played for Arsenal in the Premier League either. So yeah, he's definitely one that's for the future. And we've got other players to come back in who aren't part of the squad at the moment through injuries or whatever, like Cole Palmer. I want to see what Lewis Hall can do on the left when he's in, because he's had a great season for Newcastle. There's lots to be positive about, I think, with England, and it'd be interesting to see the selection and the style of play when we play stronger nations, because I think that's the real test for an England manager, because no matter who's been in charge of England, they've pretty much dealt with these games in the same manner against these teams. We always blitz through qualifying, unless it was the Steve McLaren era where we didn't make that tournament. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty routine getting through these group stage games against some of the slightly weaker nations, which you got to do the job. Well, I don't want to be disrespectful to these.
Just 140th, number 64, and 140th. No, that's what the numbers are. That's what the Coca-Cola rankings are. Now, does Coca-Cola lie a little bit?
Well, to be fair, Albania caused some problems at the last Euros.
Yeah,
they weren't the easiest team to play against. So like I say, it was just a case of job done, and I like that I got to be there and see it in person and experience that. And there wasn't any all the negativity that I've seen towards Tuchel is online. None of it was there in person. No one around me cared about the fact that he didn't sing the anthem. No one made a noise about that. No one cared. And he actually made quite a good quote when he came out in the media before the Albania game and just said, I won't sing the anthem, and that's out of respect. I don't feel like I've earned the right to just come into your country and sing the anthem. He's like, I might in the future.
You got some good writers, that Tuchel. Bars. Bars.
That's some elite PR going on there. But I thought that was probably the most sensible answer you could give, because people in England get weird about that sort of stuff, even though it means pretty much nothing. It's all just symbolism and things like that. People just get really worked up over things that don't really matter that much. But yeah, so I didn't. But that's, like I say, a lot of that seems to be online. I didn't really sense any negativity towards him in the stadium at all. So yeah, it was a pretty positive night. Other than I did boo when Jordan Henderson came on, but that was my personal choice. Hey, a few other people joined in around me as well. So
you weren't
no
alone.
No one knows why he's there.
So you'll never boo Jordan Henderson alone. You have the Liverpool song playing for you while you're booing a Liverpool player.
That's it. I'm a Adam Wharton stan, and he'd be perfect for these games because he can find such intelligent passes.
He'll get his chance, and Mainu might come back into it too. They'll get their chance. I thought Tuchel speaking after the game, just to run through my ideas, said the perfect things. There was one journalist after in the post-match who said, "You said you didn't like when Marcus Rashford did this. What do you think of how he did it today?" I said, "I never said that. I said," and then he straightened the reporter out, because a lot of reporters, like, I've been listening to some of the things that Tuchel said, and they've completely turned them around. Like, English journalism it's crazy. It's like, I'm like, I heard that same interview and that's not how I took it. Like, there was like, even Cundy and them on TalkSport were talking, or somebody, I don't want to say the wrong name, was saying how he's kind of overstepped and insulted Southgate. And all he said was he felt like England played with fear and within themselves. Everything that everybody was saying during the Euros. And he said they made that an insult and an indictment of Southgate. And it wasn't that. It was just true. Everybody was saying it the whole time. Now the new German coach says it. How dare he attack Sir Gareth? The only time anyone is called Southgate Sir is at that moment. But I like how he speaks, and and I never say that, but it's extra clarity. Just and you really see things the way he sees it after he speaks. Like, a lot of people were doubting him picking Reece James. In the selection, I heard a lot of critics about that. Well, Reece James answered that today. A game that was deadlocked, and there was no way around this 5 blocks of 8 Latvian players. I don't know how they got that much players on the pitch. Also, a game that was just played in one half. They should have just put a police tape around the other half of the pitch and just let everybody just play in this one half, because the ball didn't go nowhere. It was a wall the whole day, not just during that free kick. So Reece James, and he didn't celebrate because he heard what people said. So he's like, yo, he celebrated by not celebrating. So, yo, watch out for me. I'm the real deal, And I liked how Rashford, and I don't want to use the word took the criticism of Tuchel, because it wasn't criticism, it was actual factual data and an assessment of how he played in the first game, and stepped it up in the second game and made space, got into the box, took people on, and his decision wasn't always the greatest when he did get in the box. There were some moments where he needed more support and belief from his teammates that he was going to get into those spaces and be able to pass to them. So they weren't there all the time either. So that's going to be a timing thing. A new team kind of playing together that hasn't played together in a minute, and everybody not knowing their capabilities. Who else? Myles Lewis Shelly. See you, Alex. Peace, fam. Congrats again.
Out, but thank you. Just tomorrow, Brazil, Argentina. It's gonna be a good one. So.
I gotta watch that.
Beanie in Argentina. That's gonna be in Argentina stadium. Who they do not like him. So.
He
want to watch that.
Oh yeah, because he's black.
he only just about made that game as well, because I don't know if you saw.
I think he wanted to get a yellow card. Like, I had a feeling that I was like, this guy's smart. He wants to get a yellow card, wants to go back to Madrid. He doesn't want to go to Argentina. Press.
Who was it? It was Rafinha and
Rafinha
and
dragged him
Cunha.
out.
Rafinha and Cunha went, because he was like time wasting, like fiddling with his shin pads when he'd been subbed. And literally they went over to him. They went, "What are you doing, man? You're going to get yourself booked and you'll miss the game." Well, they actually have to get off the pitch.
Yeah,
his own teammates. Congrats again. See you later.
Congrats, fam.
Bye.
So yeah, we'll get into that game too. We'll talk about that a little bit, because I saw them beat Colombia, and you know, those games are spicy. Like, you know, Colombia wants to belong. You know, in that top group of Argentina and Brazil. They want their name mentioned. They are the Mexico and the Spurs of CONMEBOL, you know? And sometimes they have some really good players who are almost on the level of the Argentinians and some of the best Brazilians. But yeah, just going through the English team again, talking about the English game. It's like, what can you do? Latvia is 160. You can only play who's in front of you. And they were really in front of them, like the whole game, everybody, including the forwards and the midfield and the defenders and the goalkeeper, anybody that they could. It was the easiest game a referee had to ever ref, because he just stayed in one half, no running around, just a little back and forth, but that's about it. And not having to chase after professional athletes. So he must probably, you know how after a game, some of the players who didn't play have to go on the field and then work out. Like the refs for that game should have had to have done that, because they did not get a workout just staying in one half watching that game. But yeah, man, it's 3-0, 5 goals in 2 games, 2 clean sheets. They didn't give Latvia that many chances. I think they got like a half a chance, no big chances. It kept the opponent's XG down. And like you said, just going back to Albania, they've given teams trouble. And I feel like teams like Albania gave, not specifically Albania, but Albania-like teams during the Euros gave England trouble and were very competitive against us. And we took all that away from them. And then there are the hidden things that Tuchel talked about that he had the team doing that you don't see or notice in the game. He said they did those well, and I could see what he's saying, you know. And so we counter press well, got the ball back well. There was nobody really ever out of position. Everybody's in place. We just have to keep playing and improving, and you know, and we'll see. And then the only criticism I do have of Tuchel is every time there's a camp, he talks about the limited amount of sessions that they're going to have leading up to the World Cup, which makes me believe even more that he should have joined and taken over those games last year, those 2 last games. I feel like if we don't win the tournament, the World Cup, that might be the point that kind of hurt him. Like, you know, where every degree or decimeter in football counts. Maybe that extra camp and those 2 extra games could have taught him something that he might not learn until it's too late during the World Cup. But I like what he did, moving Rashford to the right in the second half and Bowen to the left to see what they could do. He experimented a lot. You know, he got the points and he experimented, which you're supposed to do. You want to beat the 160th place team, but you also want to learn some stuff and try some stuff. And I think he got to achieve those things. So good coaching. And and the game was boring, but it wasn't England's fault. We tried. You know, we tried, but it just is what it is. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on it.
No, like I say, just job done in the end. Yeah, good experience, and keep an eye on my Instagram because I'll post a video up from the day.
All right, dope. Check out Lee's Instagram. Those visits to the game are fun. Did you see France versus Croatia? How did France let Croatia beat them 2-0? I don't care that it was in Croatia. You're France. Like, Croatia is a bunch of old stars. It's like going to see the Rolling Stones play. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were great in their prime, but everybody there is just because everybody wants to still go see the Stones. That's what the Croatia is. But they shouldn't be able to beat a France. You know what I mean? Like, head to head, 2-0. Like, but they did come back, France, and tie the series 2-2, and then it went to extra time. And I think they win in extra time.
Penalties. They beat on penalties.
They beat them in penalties. So lucky for France, because I feel like their coach is just too defensive. With that quality. He has to go for it. But you could tell by the lineup he started in this game compared to the second game. Like, everybody that he took off the bench, called off the bench and substituted into the first game were already in the starting lineup, including the starting lineup for this game. Like, he wasn't playing around. He's like, we're going offense all the time. You scored 2 goals against a team you didn't score any goals against. So it's like, hey man, maybe use your offense more. You know what I mean? And you won't have to dig yourself out of a hole. And saw Germany versus Italy. That was a crazy game. Germany goes up 3-0. Yeah. And Moise Kean was like, I know I'm black and y'all really don't consider me Italian, but I am, as a black Italian, I ain't taking this. I'm going to take this matters into my own hands. And they tied the game 3-0, but because Germany beat them in the first game, like, Germany goes through. So what is this for? What is this?
The Nations League.
The Nations League trophy? Like, this is still kind of confusing because England's in the qualifying. This is...
Yeah, they got Nations League going on the same time as World Cup qualifying, which is, I don't know. Any of these games
count towards qualifying?
I'm not even sure.
So crazy, right? They changed the whole thing up.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. But I mean, it's good that there's big teams playing each other because you don't get that in the group stage. Like, seeing Germany, Italy, and France, Croatia, and games like that. Spain, Netherlands is wild as well.
Yeah.
Even Portugal, Denmark. All these games are high scoring.
Yeah.
Over the 2 legs. So, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Netherlands showing that if they have their players, they can give the top team, Spain, like a run for it. And Netherlands has fought back in both games. And they tied the first one, was it 2-2? And then the other one was tied 3-3.
3-3, yeah.
But, Lamine Yamal, man, he scored a banger.
Late on, in extra time.
In extra time, but then Netherlands, they got that one back. Penalty.
Simons, yeah.
Yeah, Xavi Simons.
Or Simons.
And then that went to penalty. Lamau missed his penalty, but his teammates backed him up and they got them through. So who's going to play who next?
I'm not sure. I've not even seen the draw, how any of that's working. So, yeah. I just see what the fixtures are when they come out and enjoy them.
I think that's what everybody does. Like, this ain't the type of thing where you look it up in advance and look towards the draw and like start making projections. It's like, this is the type of football. Like, I don't care. I used to care that I knew everything about football. This is the part of football. Like, it's fine if I don't know.
Yeah, like internationals, I only really get that excited once we come to the actual big tournaments. But just looking at it, the 2 semi-finals are going to be Germany, Portugal, and Spain versus France. So Spain, they'll both be good games. But Spain versus France, I think, will be a good watch in particular.
Speaking of not knowing everything, you want to hear something embarrassing?
I thought he was about to introduce Martin on then.
So I'm watching Denmark versus Portugal, like the second leg, because Højlund scored last minute in the first leg and they won, and then he did the the Ronaldo beating Ronaldo, which Ronaldo said it wasn't an insult. I think it was tribute, but it's both. It's 80% insult, 20% tribute by Højlund. Like that's the thing, that when Myles Lewis Shelly did that, all the racists in England turned against him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, we know what it is. So, but then in this game, Portugal got a penalty, which I don't think they deserved. But the person who offended the penalty was caused against was Dogru. And I'm like, wait a minute, Dogru, Man United player? He's from Denmark? I never checked to see. He only arrived and started playing for us from January, but I never checked to see or realize that he was from Denmark, the same country as Højlund, the same country as Eriksen, which makes it an easier fit-in for him at United. So that's, even though Eriksen ain't going to be there that much longer, we don't even know if Højlund will be. But he had an assist in the second game, Dogru did, and Eriksen, who scored. And that game was 2-2 for a minute, but then eventually Portugal made it, I think, 5 or 4-2 and won on aggregate. So, yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the FA Cup games coming up this weekend, and then we can get out of here?
Yeah.
Or do you have anything else international to say?
No, not really. We've pretty much covered all of that. Yeah, FA Cup starts from Saturday.
I'm kind of glad United is not in the FA Cup. We get to rest some players and train and work our Amarin system. You know what I mean? So, which is, and maybe get some players back from injury and just become a more overall rounded team. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Yeah. The thing I like about the FA Cup this weekend is that, like, there's like Man City are pretty much the only like regular previous winner left in it. Obviously, some of these other clubs they've won the FA Cup before, but I kind of hope Bournemouth beat Man City, because then the whole thing's wide open.
Yeah, which they can.
Yeah, they got the team to do it right now.
Yeah, and City don't have the team to stop them from doing it.
But I feel like they'll all be good games. Like Fulham Palace, I think will be entertaining. I think Brighton Forest is probably the one that I'll watch.
That's a banger. That's the banger. Yeah.
Brighton owe them after that 7-0 as well.
You think they'll is that Brighton? You think they'll avenge that?
They could do. It's yeah.
Forest top players arrested. None of them went with England to the Euros. I don't know how many of Brighton players got called up. Like what's his name? João Pedro was playing for Brazil. I saw him playing for Brazil.
Van Hecker was in the Dutch team.
Yeah, Van Hecker was in the Dutch team.
I think Verbruggen was with Belgium, the goalkeeper. Oh no, he's Dutch as well. Sorry, the goalkeeper Verbruggen, he's Dutch too, but I don't think he started.
Right. I did recognize one of the Dutch keepers, but I don't know if I recognize him from the Premier League or just from the Euros.
Let me have a look. Who was in goal? Oh no, it was Verbruggen. It was a Brighton keeper. Yeah, so they had Van Hecker and Verbruggen.
Yeah.
In there.
And then another guy from Bournemouth, who's Dutch, played for Holland. The tall, lanky kid. He played for Spain. Yeah.
Huysen. He's a very Dutch name.
He's Dutch looking.
He's half Dutch. His parents, I think, are Dutch, and then he was raised in Spain, or something like that. So he was eligible for both. He was getting booed when the game was on by the Dutch fans
because they feel like he's a traitor.
Yeah.
Good for him. So yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Joe Linton. It's the first time I've ever seen him play. I was like, what does this guy got to do to play for Brazil? Like, what is Brazil doing in their midfield that Joe Linton can't get in there? And he was in there as a sub versus Colombia. But yeah, good for him. Luis Diaz scored, but it wasn't enough. And Brazil via who scored? I think it was Vinny Jr. because Vinny Jr. earned the penalty. Rafinha put it away. So yeah, Vinny Jr. scored the winner versus Colombia. The same style of goal that Luis Diaz scored at the same end earlier in the match. So yeah. But yeah, Preston, you made it far in the FA Cup, but you got to play Aston Villa at home. And Villa should be able to take their heads off and go through. But yeah, Bournemouth should be able to beat Man City on that little last pitch. And you could feel how little that Bournemouth pitch is. And Brighton Forest, yeah, that's a bang. And Fulham, Crystal Palace, 2 London teams. And Crystal Palace is in its ascension now. They finally got their shit together. I don't know. They have a decent amount of international players, Crystal Palace, that played for England. Like Guehi and Eze, who scored today. And Wharton didn't play. Your boy Wharton didn't play, so he got to rest. But who else?
No, Wharton was in the under 21s.
Oh, he did play. Oh, shit. So they do kind of have him in mind, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's past that now, though. They should have him in the team.
So you think it shouldn't have been Henderson? It should have been Gallagher or Wharton?
Yeah, for sure. Like I just think that like the excuse for putting Henderson in is that like, oh, he's got experience. It's like, well, none of the other guys are going to get experience if you block the route with people who aren't good enough anymore. You know, Henderson, yeah, a good servant for England over the years, but it's, you know, it's stopping other players from developing and growing into that role. Like, it'd be harsh to like say to a player, oh, you need to wait until you're this age to go and get that experience. You know, we're doing it in other positions with like Lewis Skelly and people. It's like let's do it in other positions as well, because like we've already got like the experience there in like Declan Rice. Like, have someone, you know, an understudy to him, not just some past it player who can come off the bench for a few minutes. Yeah, I just don't see the use in it personally.
You hating on Henderson the way Gen Z hates on boomers.
It's like, you know, who's to care while the team's winning? You know, it's easy to, you know, if you're Tuchel, it's easy to avoid the criticism for it if the team's winning. So, you know, fair enough.
Is there anything else we should talk about internationally, or did we do it?
I'm interested to see how that Brazil-Argentina game goes. I might have a look at what time.
Is that tonight or tomorrow night?
I think it's tomorrow. I think it's Wednesday night, actually.
Is it?
Let me just double check, because I might see if I can stay up. It's over here. It's going to be midnight.
No problem.
Like coming up. So for you, that'll be a better time. That'll be afternoon for you. So tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me it'll be midnight. So for you, it'll be like 5 p.m.
5 p.m. I got something to do at 4.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I'll watch it after.
I might stay up for that one. Little midnight watch. I think that'll be that'll be justified for a fixture at that level.
Is Messi going to play? Because I don't think he played in the first game.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or was that the point? They saved it. I don't think he played against Uruguay. I think they beat Argentina beat Uruguay 1-0.
Let me have a look. Yeah, they won 1-0, and they had the late red card as well. Yeah, he wasn't in the starting lineup, and he did not come on. So, yeah.
I wonder how that's going to play out.
Either way, Messi or no Messi, that's going to be a spicy one.
Yeah. What do you think of the status of Brazil's national team compared to like the prior great ones? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, there's great Brazil teams being 10. What number does this Brazil team like rest at?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah. Say the Ronaldo teams that won with Roberto Carlos, Cafu, Ronaldinho, and the other guy that used to play for Barcelona, the master next to the great touches. Damn, what's his name? And like, where's this Brazilian team with Vinny Jr.? Rodrigo is underrated. He'll be underrated till the day he dies. You know, it's a quality kid. You got Rafinha. Like, Rafinha is playing some of the most Brazilian football in La Liga I've ever seen in my life. And we've seen, you know, and you got Vinny Jr., he ain't no slouch. You know, like, that front line ain't bad, man.
Yeah. And even beyond that, like, you look at some, you know, Alisson's easy, one of the best keepers in the world right now. Like, yeah, it's, I mean, just looking at it, like Marquinhos, I don't know if he's maybe past his best slightly, but he's
only like 30.
Back. Yeah. Gabriel for Arsenal, he's a top class centre back, and Bruno Guimaraes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably put them around like a 7.
7. All right.
If the pinnacle of like the Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, Roberto Carlos, if that Brazil was like a 10, which at times they were, this one I'd say is like a 7.
7, yeah.
They're kind of like 8 on a good day, 6 on a bad day. So we'll give them like the average.
8 with makeup, 6 when they just wake up. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
If they call up Richarlison again, they go back down to a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just impressed that Richarlison were there. Can't Neymar play for them? Because Neymar's playing domestic football. So it's like, is he done?
Yeah.
He quit?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I know he's getting on a bit now. He's riddled with injuries as well. So I don't know if he's got the legs for it. But I mean, João Pedro's scoring regularly in the Premier League, and you know, with Rafinha playing on the level he is right now for Barca, he's just elevated himself like this season to just, you know, being in those sort of upper echelons of players. So with him, Rodrigo, Vinny Jr. So I think they need to kind of move on from Neymar, because I don't know if they'll get another tournament out of him.
Yeah, so, they got Endrick.
Yeah,
on the bench.
Just time to embrace that new generation, and there's, you know, they've got like Cunha on the bench as well, and Savinho.
Oh yeah, Jesus, Cunha.
Savino's in there as well. So
yeah,
like, they got firepower. It's just about how they use it.
You might have to give him 7.5. Just based on those names you just mentioned. Shit. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. All right, man. Thanks for joining. That's great, man, that you went to the game, you pulled up. That's, you know, like, yeah, it's class right there. Yeah, man. It was right there. How early did you get to the game before it started?
We walked into the stadium with like 20 minutes before kickoff. Because I did a day's work. I was in the office today, and then I went and met my friend. And then from where we met in London, it was like a half-hour train ride up to the stadium, and then I had to walk from the stadium. We stopped and got like a burger, and then by the time we got in,
that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Yeah, that's how you goddamn do it.
Yeah, and that was like a burger from like a truck outside. It wasn't one of the ones inside. It was a truck outside.
Hell yeah. Who's eating burgers inside anymore? What's wrong with people? Something about a truck burger adds to the myth of it.
It was a good evening.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. Well, you got any parting? Want to shout out your Instagram and your?
Yeah, just give me a follow on there if you're not already. And I'm going to be posting, like I say, a video from this and from. I watched Arsenal women demolish Liverpool 4-0 on Saturday as well. That was a pretty good game. So I went to that on Saturday, 35,000 people. So I've got a video from that. I'll do one for tonight's game as well. I'll put those out there because they're doing more for me right now than stand-up comedy videos, which is makes me a little bit sad because
you got to put yourself in the video though. At least show yourself to help draw people to your comedy.
Well, people are following me from them. So, and I think some of them are coming and crossing over to the podcast as well, which is nice. So, shout out to anyone watching who's come here from the reels, because appreciate it either way, and obviously all the regulars as well. We don't forget about you guys too.
Yeah,
hounding us in the comments sometimes, and everyone in the fantasy football league, which obviously we got no update for that this week because no games, but we're back to, I think Premier League picks up midweek next week. Okay. The games are like Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So I'll be back on it then. I've got some decisions to make in my team.
It sounds serious.
It is. I've got some dead wood in there. I got like the stick or twist with Cole Palmer. I still haven't got rid of him yet. So it's like, do I take him out? But then the next game is Spurs, and if he's going to do something against anyone, it's going to be Spurs. He didn't do anything against Leicester or Southampton, which that was. I thought that was going to be the final straw for me. But then I'm thinking, do I leave him in for Tottenham? But he's also carrying an injury, which is why he pulled out the England squad. So I don't know where he's at right now.
He's got time to rest, and it's not enough time to get him out of shape. Depending on the injury, I don't know if he's going to be back by the time the Prem starts back up. But we'll see. As far as me, follow me on Instagram at Ian Edwards Comic, on YouTube at Ian Edwards Comic. That's what the pod is. And on what's this? Instagram, and I want to say Twitter, but it's X. But everybody knows what X means, Twitter. And we'll be, special coming out soon. And I got some dates on my link tree, you can see it on Twitter or X, or you can see it, in the, what do they call that section on Instagram, where link in the comments, link in the bio, link in the bio. Yeah. So check it out there. And I'll be having some more shows. But thanks for watching and listening on Omni Studio, iTunes, Spotify. And let's keep enjoying and loving this football. All right, y'all. 1.